Hey, this is Walt from StogieReview.com here with another video cigar review, and this time around I'm doing the La Floridita Gold. Now, this cigar was sent to me from Famous maybe 2 weeks ago. Every now and again they send me packages to review. This time it just happened to be a 5-pack of La Floridita. Last time I think it was like a test flight sampler of one of their other house exclusive lines, and they show up every few months. But this cigar showed up, and I thought, well, it's I smoked one and then decided, well, this is definitely a morning cigar, so I'm gonna have to pick the time, and this one's gonna be a little more tough to review because the last several reviews I've done have been in the evening. So it's 6 a.m. and I got a cup of coffee and I'm ready to go. Now, I don't know a whole lot about this cigar, so I hopped over to the Famous Cigar website, and it looks like they're available in a couple of sizes. The Robusto, which I'm smoking, runs about $80 a box. 5-pack is $15.75, or single cigar is $5.25. For the description, they say, La Floridita Gold continues the La Floridita tradition of fine cigars. A medium-bodied blend teams with rich tobacco taste supplied by long fillers from Nicaragua and Honduras. Framed in Honduran binders and rolled in golden, silky Ecuadorian Connecticut wrappers. Each puff is ultra-creamy and perfectly balanced with a note of sweet tobacco on the finish. A must-try for La Floridita fans and bargain hunters alike. I don't know about you, but that just didn't... that sales copy didn't suck me in and make me want to buy the cigar. But I got one anyway. Before I even cut it, it looks like I have a crack in the cap. It shouldn't be too much of a problem. I'm just going to cut it right off anyway. Oh, that's bad. Pretty light draws. The draw itself is good. Nice and free, just a little bit of resistance, but the taste is disgusting. I don't even know that I want to smoke this now. Oh well, let's soldier on. The cold taste is like, I don't know, I want to say like feet. It's not good at all. This isn't my first sample. I smoked 2 of these already. This is my third. And the first 2 that I smoked were in the evening. My palate wasn't as fresh. And I was just sort of warming up for the review, and then this morning presented itself as an opportunity to smoke and review it. So that's where we're at right now. Except for after that cold draw, I'm like, I don't even want to smoke it. Well, it's comes across as medium bodied, maybe medium flavored. It's got an aftertaste that reminds me of those Werther's original candies. The original ones, not the chocolate ones that they did later. unfortunately, that just raw cold draw flavor did not come through on the smoke, and I'm really thankful for that. It's got a little bit of punch through the sinus. It's providing a good supply of smoke. It's dense, easy to get through the sinus. It's not overwhelming through the sinus, but it does have some strength. The finish is like completely neutral. It's not creamy, it's not dry. So it's kind of weird. It's got it's got flavor, it's got some body. It's easy on the palate, but when you expel the smoke, just a few seconds after you do that, your palate is left just completely free of any lingering aftertaste. It's like you didn't puff on anything at all, which is kind of good and bad. There are a lot of times I like that lingering aftertaste. It's where a lot of the nuance comes in. In this case, there's just nothing there. It's also got a bit of a grassy taste. Alright, so right now, I don't know which way this cigar is going to go. It can either go horribly wrong and just start tasting like the cold draw did, or it could get much better and I'll enjoy it. But right now, I'm just completely indifferent. It's not. I don't think it's a bad cigar. I don't think it's a good. I don't think it's a great cigar either. So obviously, it's really early in the game here. So I'm going to take a break. I'll be coming back in just for you an instant. And we'll take a look at the first third and see how this goes. So, sit tight. Well, I'm back, still plugging along on my La Floridita Gold. And as you can see, it's burning pretty well. It's got a fairly light colored ash. The burn line's a little thick, but it is relatively even. The ash is rather weak. It's almost got like a powdery kind of a structure. When it gets a little bit longer than this, a little bit of movement makes the ash fall off, and when it hits the surface, it just kind of poofs and goes everywhere. I wanted to let the ash get a little bit long because it looks great, and I wanted to show that, but unfortunately, every time that it got about 3/4 of an inch to an inch long, just me picking it up was enough for the ash to topple over and fall. Fortunately, all the ashes wound up in the ashtray, and none is wound up in my lap. But from a burning standpoint, the cigar is doing really well. It provides a nice dense supply of smoke. The draw is free. There's a little bit of resistance, but that little bit of resistance is what I look for. It's enough to stop me, or it's enough to prevent the cigar from getting overly hot. In the flavor department, things are definitely better than they were in the beginning. I mean, the cold draw was awful. The initial flavors were meh at best, and now it's beginning to get a little better. I mentioned that I get a bit of an aftertaste, which is like immediate, right after you blow the smoke out of your mouth. I'm getting like a flavor that reminds me of Werther's Original, and I don't remember what those are. Caramel and something, I think. But that flavor is really short on the palate. In just a few seconds, it dissipates, and the palate is left just completely clean. It's interesting. It's got kind of a buttery texture. Through the sinus, there's definitely some punch behind it. I'd say it's medium bodied, medium flavored. And back to the flavor department, that sort of Werther's Original flavor, there's a little bit more to it than that. There's like a wow, a lot of smoke. There's like an underlying harshness. It's nowhere near as bad as that cold flavor, or the pre-light flavor, but there's something there that I don't like, And as the cigar gets shorter, it's coming more and more to the front. Now, it kind of reminds me of Johnny Walker. Not the flavor of Johnny Walker, but the first time I ever had Johnny Walker Scotch, it was the red stuff, Johnny Walker Red. And that stuff was just horrendous. I hated it. Just disgusting, loathful, foul stuff. And I think I drank less than 2 ounces out of the bottle before I completely gave up on it. And it had a really nasty, medicine-y kind of taste to it. And when I got the nerve to try Johnny Walker again, I went out and I bought a bottle of Johnny Walker Black, which is a step up. Now, even though the Johnny Walker Black was much, much better, there were still underlying flavors of Johnny Walker Red in it. I could taste that flavor that I didn't like in the red. It was just far less apparent. And that's where I'm at now. You know, the pre-light flavors just were horrible. And now I can taste a little bit of that pre-light flavor in the cigar, kind of like I can taste the Johnny Walker Red in the Johnny Walker Black kind of a scenario. But you know, that flavor is building, and I don't know where it's going to go. I'm just really hoping that, you know, I don't get a face full of that pre-light flavor again. It was really bad. But at this point, the cigar's doing pretty good, and I'm happy with it. So I'm going to take a break. I'll be back in just a second, and we'll take a look at it again after I pop the band off. And because the cigar is smoking so fast, I don't know whether I'm going to be able to do thirds. You know, if I were to do a second third and a final third, I may just be turning the camera off for 5-10 minutes and then back on again to talk a little bit real quick so that I could turn the camera off and come back 5-10 minutes later. I really don't expect this cigar to last too much longer because of the rate it's burning. But with that said, sit tight and I'll be right back. Well, I am back, and it's about time to wrap up my La Floridita Gold. And as you can see, it's still burning really well. The burn line has gotten thinner. The ash is still that lighter colored, compacted shaped ash that I've had for most of the cigar. Still pretty loose. I don't like getting it too long, just for danger of it falling. But it's performing really well. Lots of smoke, easy to get through the sinus. It's dense, it coats the palate well. It's got a creamy, kind of a buttery texture to it. The body is medium. The flavor level is medium as well. There's a little bit of punch through the sinus when you retrohale. And in the flavor profile, I'm not getting that sweet kind of candy flavor that I was getting before. It's turned to more of a woody flavor, and that harshness that I didn't like before has increased. It hasn't increased enough where I would just get tired of the cigar and toss it, but it's picked up dramatically, I would say, since the earlier stages of the cigar, and it is definitely putting a little bit of a damper on the flavor profile, in my opinion. You know, with a price point of about $80 a box of 20, or $5.25 a single, you know, I don't know that this is something that I would turn to on a regular basis, or turn to very often at all. I mean, it's not a bad morning cigar. It's going well with the coffee. They work really well together, but you know, the harshness really takes the cigar down a couple of pegs. If I were, you know, at a single price of $5.25, it's kind of a no-brainer. I would pass on this every time and reach for an EP Carrillo New Wave. When, you know, by the box price, where you're looking at about $4 a single, you know, I can't really think of anything that compares. Actually, you know what, I can. I actually think that the Florida Oliva Gold is better than this, and that should be less expensive. I think the last time I got those, they were $2.50 a single at a cigar shop, and of course, Oliva raises their prices every year, so it's probably closer to $3.25 now. Just kind of guessing, but it's not a bad cigar. It performs really well. It's just the taste that I'm not crazy about, and the flavor on the cold draw was just foul. That I'm not liking at all. But it performs well, and you know, I'll give it that. you know, I really don't think there's anything else to say about this stick. So I'm gonna go ahead and close this out. And if you're looking to purchase these, you can do so on famous-smoke.com and just look up La Floridita Gold. And that's about it. So until next time, happy smoking.